Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so today's topics: where is the Bitcoin price going next? The last few days has been hard. Is this a bubble in the process of bursting, or is this just a healthy correction? Will we see all-time highs? If so, when? Spoiler alert, yes, we will see all-time highs very soon. The Cambrian explosion of the crypto market is a very fond topic of mine, and I'm going to talk about that as well. So let's get started with the Bitcoin price action. So you can see the last few days have been red and it keeps pumping down. So the trend's been pretty much downward. But what gives me a little bit of hope is what this looks like is a bounce off of a trend line, which acted as resistance and now is bouncing off of the support. So hopefully we're starting to see some kind of a recovery. Now, most retail investors want to see this. They came down and they want to go back up in the same angle. Let's say that even plays out. We are looking at the end of February, early March for that kind of price action to play out. So what I really think is going to happen is a Wyckoff accumulation pattern. So Wyckoff accumulation pattern looks something like this: when the institutional investors are playing in the market, which is what's happening with Bitcoin and all of crypto right now. Institutional investors are in, and they like to whiplash around so that the retail investors, the weak hands, the stop losses, are all shaken out and they get to buy for cheap. So they will pump the price down, then they'll pump it up again. People think, oh, it's going up. They all FOMO in, then it pumps back down, pumps back up, and it comes back even lower. And now everybody's just given up. So this is like a huge drama that plays out. And you can see this pattern pretty much in a lot of equity markets. So don't worry, when you get to the top, a similar Wyckoff pattern will play in the bull cycle. When you are on the top, they keep whiplashing the retail market around, and they will then dump the market before the retail investors know it's happening. So this is typically something that happens. So that's what my take is in the market, is that we are going to see that kind of a Wyckoff pattern, accumulation pattern play out. So if we were to draw something like that, it's going to pump even lower before it starts to move up. So what gives me confidence that this is what's going to happen is we saw something very similar in the mid of last year, where there was this whiplashing and real low points that were touched before it started to get into the upward trend. So if we were to take this kind of a pattern played out in this year, beginning of this year, this is going to go well into June before we see all-time highs. That's just what I think, at least end of May, because you cannot have parabolic moves in Bitcoin anymore. This is too big an asset. It's $1 trillion asset. You cannot have parabolic moves. You're going to have moves with lots of consolidation. That puts us well into June. All right. That being said, Bitcoin is just one of the various blockchains out there, but it is the biggest blockchain. So this is by market cap. Bitcoin is the biggest by far, and then the far second is Ethereum and Solana and so on and so forth, BNB. So this is well known that we have to take this entire market as an entity before we start thinking, is this a bubble or not a bubble? So let's think about that. Now, what are the use cases for crypto? It's not just store of value, which is what Bitcoin is. There is capital market disruptions going on, CBDCs, which is central bank digital currencies, DeFi, decentralized finance, all the innovation happening in traditional finance, identity management, energy, healthcare. The whole blockchain ecosystem is playing in so many different places. I want to focus on this one small place called DeFi, okay, decentralized finance. This is a website, DeFi Llama, that tracks all the DeFi action going on, the total value locked. You can think of that as market cap, the amount of dollar value locked up in these different chains. And you can again see Ethereum is the biggest, but over a period of time, since September of 2020, you can see that there are other players that are eating into the Ethereum market share. Now, this does not mean the total value locked is going down. Total value locked continues to go up, but the market share, the 100% market share of Ethereum has been challenged by these other players. This does not look like a dying market, does it? This is a thriving market where you can just fork out of a GitHub repository and create a new coin and make these changes that's better than the previous coin. It's almost like taking a DNA sequence and going through this process of mutation, getting something better, and the ones that have poor mutations die, and the ones that have the stronger mutations win. Okay, so this brings me to the topic of the Cambrian Explosion. What's the Cambrian Explosion? It is a name, it's a term given to the idea that when life evolved on Earth, there was like nothing for millions and millions, thousands of millions of years. There's nothing. And suddenly there was an explosion of single-celled organisms. And this happened all of a sudden. There's nothing, and boom, there's something that happens that's really exciting. And then out of that spawned all the other animals and plants that we see as ancestors of what we see today. And of course, the bottom here shows all the things that we are aware of. But the Cambrian explosion started it all. And everything in nature operates like that. There's nothing, and boom, an explosion of innovation. And just like how you can take a DNA sequence and start mutating it and creating something better that completely leapfrogs what came before it, that's exactly what's happening in the crypto market. Now, it doesn't have to be this philosophical. You just look at how internet and computers were adopted over the decades that this played out. Since 1998 all the way to 2000, 2002, really there was nothing. You can argue, all right, so internet came about, so what? And suddenly there was an explosion. The Cambrian explosion that happened in late 98 and early 2000s, and everything just manifested out of that. The mobile apps, the mobile devices, the Internet of Things, social media, even blockchain is a continuation of this explosion. So everything in life plays out this way. Even if you look at the progress we make as individuals, there's nothing, and suddenly there's a Cambrian explosion, which I think is what's happening in my life right now. Okay, so let's say, coming back to DeFi, this is a quick snapshot of the Cambrian explosion. Right? So wealth and asset management, there are multiple projects. Now, prediction markets, wow, lending, infrastructure, marketplaces, and liquidity. Compliance and identity. Compliance doesn't come into play until the market matures, because mostly developers and small players are playing it. Compliance is starting to take shape in this market. It means this is not a fringe thing anymore. There's a lot of stuff going on, and what you're seeing is the beginnings of the Cambrian explosion, and amazing things are going to come out of it. Look at the developers that the crypto market is attracting. This cannot be ignored, right? By the thousands, these developers are quitting their paying jobs in top companies, and they're running towards crypto to go make something big happen. Now, these developers are not seasoned 45-year-olds, 50-year-olds. These tend to be millennials and younger. And these folks, this demographic does not care about pensions, this does not care about pays and career growth. They care about social change and equality and justice. And they see crypto as that force of bringing an economic equality around the world. They have seen their parents get burnt by the housing crisis and the market crash in 2008. And they are against the establishment, which is the finance industry we know as it is. And they're going to go and build something different. Okay, even institutional investors have started investing in crypto. We all know that. There's all kinds of things they've promised. They have custody services. Basically, they will custody your crypto for you. They're bringing up their own blockchains. They're helping payments over the existing cryptocurrencies. Even JP Morgan is in the play for custody services. But remember, when there's an industry transformation, incumbents never win. So I don't see any of these guys becoming the major crypto player. Look throughout history, anywhere. The incumbents never survive industry transformations. They survive small transitions, small changes, but when there's a transformation of this nature, they do not survive it. And somebody else becomes the big bank. That's the idea. And I hope this all makes sense. And I will see you guys next time for another short video on Bitcoin pricing.